This is Rafique Louison, and you are tuned in to Nothing But That Sports Talk. Welcome back to another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. Rafique Louison alongside Ryan Walker and Aces versus Liberty, WNBA Finals. Everything that we built up for the offseason. Thoughts?
You just like we expected. Happy, good for New York, and the girls got a great chance to do something special. And they start on Sunday, the 8th. We gotta take the road trip, and just happy. Happy not I want them to just win it so bad. So not contempt yet. So but they're in good position. I like what the core is doing. Sabrina, of course, Brianna, our MVP, Lainey, Dolson, all the players on the team, Johans, Courtney, and they're just all playing together good as a unit. They pulled out a tough series against a good Connecticut team, and they had to battle back in that series. Basically, win 3 straight in order to advance. And they're playing the Aces like we expected. The champions, solid ball club, defending champions, best team in the world. I guess we can consider for the women's right now, based off what they did. I don't know how many times we can throw that terminology out. So, defending champions per se, and they got hell of experience. They got the core with Aja and Gray and Plum, and they got so many hoopers on that team. Great coach. We know, of course, of Becky Hammond and her days as a Liberty player and her savvy and her work with the San Antonio Spurs with Popovich, and now winning a championship last year on this Aces team. So they're equipped, they're built, and they're ready. And like we said on paper, and definitely in anything, they're the favorite. They have the home court. They're the champions. They have a core group that's won it before and been there, so they know what that plight is. But with that being said, I think the Liberty have a great chance to do something special. They were the best road team in basketball this year. That's going to be key for them. They must win a road game in order to win this series. They were great at home as well too, but better on the road. And that's their key. You have to find a way to split in the first 2 games down there. Remember with the last series when we lost game 1, the first thing I said was, after winning your next home game, because you can't go down 0-2, when we were talking about which road game to steal for them, I said, it's best that they try to get game 3. Get it right away so that now you don't have your backs against the wall in a win situation on the road to have to force it to come back home. You go up 2-1, even if you lose 2-2, you have a game at home. You feel a little bit better, more different compared to you're up 2-1. Now you can put the finishing touches on. So, the goal is steal a road game, try to, no matter which one you do, and come back home and hopefully take care of your business. And then you won't have to worry about returning back to Las Vegas for game 5, if applicable. Both teams are great and solid. We respect what they do, but we have the core to play against this team. We beat them 3 times in the regular season in our 5 contests against them. 1 in the Commissioner's Cup, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, the Commissioner's Cup itself.
Yeah, there you go. And so we can do it. We have the core to do it. We beat them pretty good when we played them at home. Regular season is not the WNBA Finals, so I know there's 2 different parameters. But like I said, the Liberty have a phenomenal chance to do something really special, and hopefully in a week and a half, we'll be at a parade in New York. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's hopeful. That's literally hopeful. That's hopeful that thought, and hopefully I can get some media passes to get into those games. And if in case I'm not forgetting, that the possible game 4 will be on October 18th, which means that falls on the same day as the Knicks preseason game again. That, I mean, obviously I know you were planning to go, and I know we had conversations out there that you were planning to go to that game, but not with a possible game 4 on that same day. Would you have still gone to the preseason game if that game 4 to happen?
you just brought up an interesting point because my coworker just asked me about going to game one, which is October 15th. I do want to go, but my I just speak, my lady's gonna be having the baby on Monday, and I actually have an event to announce this Saturday and next Saturday, which is the 14th. So I'm like seeing if I have the time really to do it, to go to Sunday, because I want to go to Sunday's game. So honestly, because I know it's a good friend that's giving me the tickets per se, I probably still am going to go to the preseason game. I'm pretty sure I can watch via the screen, and knowing me being that I'm at the preseason game, I probably will download the app and watch the WNBA championship at the preseason game, just to be there per se. But wow, that's a lot to think about, because if I do, I told him that if I did go to a game, I would go to game 4. But that's the same day you're saying that I have the next preseason ticket, so I probably will pass on that one. But listen, I'll be watching regardless, wherever I'm at, whether I'm in the stadium that day for a game or whether I'm at the Knicks preseason game and watching. I'll be there watching and extremely rooting for them to hopefully be victorious, and we go from there. So I'm gonna try to see if I can make game 3 then, if that's the case, because I definitely want to be there for one of the games during their WNBA Finals run. I think it's a good price too. They're like $80 right now.
$80 just for the finals. If it was the NBA Finals of the Brooklyn Nets or New York Knicks, it would have been more expensive.
Correct. And in realms, those are good prices. But like you said, and in realms based off how the Liberty in the sections that I've been going to sit to, because you can sit on the court and it's like 100 and change, or even a little bit more for some of those seats at the front court side per se. And yeah, for the prices that I've been paying, $80 is actually pretty good, but relatively expensive. I sat it really good. You see my last seats that I had, and I paid $47 for those tickets. So now, even in the same seating area that I was before, those tickets are like $80, and that's still good. Listen, it's the WNBA Finals. The prices have to jack up a little bit, and they got to make sure they make money and fill butts in the seats. So hopefully, us as New Yorkers, even in our hard times, if we have any money, hope we can dig into those pockets and go support them to the best of their ability, whether it's in stadium or at a sports bar or parties at their house. And listen, we're just extremely ecstatic that they're doing this, because we know that baseball in New York has failed us. Those are other things we'll talk about. We know that football in New York for this year has failed us and will fail us per se, for both teams unless you're in Buffalo. And I think the Knicks will be very good, but based off what we just seen happen earlier this week, we know that the Eastern Conference is running through 2 different cities, and it's definitely not New York. So I am happy that the Liberty are in the finals, and pray that they win, because they're the best and opportunity, even if they lose. The Liberty are the best opportunity for us now and in the next 2 years to win anything compared to those other teams that I just named.
Exactly. And yeah, it's sad to say, but I'm gonna be too locked into getting some WNBA Finals content, whether it's virtual or in person. So yeah, no, you're probably not gonna hear me talk much about the preseason or lock into the preseason as much. So, but that's a conversation when we get off the air. But this, besides the points, people should be more locked into the WNBA Finals. I mean, it's the New York Liberty reaches for the first Finals appearance since 2002, and obviously you can vouch for the way the Liberty played that time, because that year they got swept by the Los Angeles Sparks, and if I recall, that was when Sandy Brondello was a player for the Miami Soul that don't exist anymore. And yeah, obviously there will be the WNBA will expand, so there will be some more teams. And Becky Hammon was playing for the New York Liberty during her final years there. So seeing the way that the New York, I mean, I know we had so many conversations about the New York Liberty for somebody that's been covering it since 2020. I mean, seeing when you watch those finals teams in the 90s and 02, like how is that comparable to right now? Since the championship hasn't been clinched yet.
Well, the 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 early '90s teams that would get to the finals, and let's just the situation was different. All the stars worked perfectly for how the Comets were able to draft. They were great and fortunate enough to get Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Kim Perrott, rest her soul, and Tina Thompson. I mean, they got three thoroughbreds. You know what I mean? At that time, and honestly, we play any other Western Conference team, or we run into anybody else. We're three champ. We probably win 3-4 titles, at least two from that time. But the Houston Comets were absolutely phenomenal with that 4-4 that I just named, and the the '90s teams remind me so much with this team. I think with our we have more talent per se at the top part, but the early '90s teams and this team remind me so much because of the depth. I mean, you look at the '90s team, you had Teresa Weatherspoon, Sophia Witherspoon, Vicki Johnson, Rebecca Lobo, Becky Hammond, and she came later. So Rebecca Lobo, Sue Wicks, Kim Hampton. You had such a really depth team. That's why the Liberty were so good, and that's why even all that top heavy talent on the Comets, they were able to compete because they had so much depth. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly with Swoops and Cooper, that's at a whole different type of level. But the depth is definitely what reminds me of this team and how you compare it. Just you got Brianna and Jonelle Jones and Lainey and Sabrina and Johans and Courtney and Ju and Dawson. It's a lot of depth on the team, and that's the biggest comparison. I just think that with players like Brianna Stewart, even Sabrina, our talent level is just so much more astronomical, and that's why I said that on paper, the only thing that will solidify it, but still to my eyes, to me, this is the most talentedest Liberty team ever in history. If you look at this roster and you compare it to all the teams year by year, even if they, we never won a championship, but regardless, whether they went to the championship or not, this is the most talented team. And if you can find another team and say that they're more talented, by all means, I'll shake your hand. But if you're not talking anywhere within those first 3 years, there's no way. Even the 2002 team, that's the last of the legs of those teams from that went to the chips and lost against the Comets. I was like the last of that regime with a young Becky Hammond that came in later on. So
yeah, she came in undrafted, I believe, and I was like literally one of the last playoff appearances Liberty had under Becky Hammond there. I remember watching. I mean, yeah. I remember watching her like during the years when Liberty were bad in 2006, that 10-year anniversary season. Really,
where she was the Liberty.
Even when they were bad, she was the face of the New York Liberty franchise. And Sabrina Ionescu kind of and you know what? Sabrina Ionescu kind of reminds me of a younger Becky Hammond a little bit. The way that she's able to like drive to the basket, knock down the 3-point shots. It kind of reminds you. It kind of gives you Becky Hammond vibes. Seriously.
No.
And when she's able to attract young talent to the Liberty during days of the Garden, and unfortunately, just like the New York Knicks, they weren't winning anything during the days of the Garden, but they've at least had some finals appearances and more playoff appearances in the 2000s than the New York Knicks.
Yes, and that's why you nipped that one right. That was a good call. Sabrina Ionescu to me is a more talented, skilled Becky Hammond, and that was the perfect comparison to pinpoint there. So I don't even have any complaints on that. She's really a more talented, skilled Becky Hammond, and that's no disrespect to Becky because Becky was good. So listen, as Liberty fans, as New Yorkers, true New Yorkers like we are, so ecstatic that they're in. Cannot wait. If they play their cards right, they can steal game 1 in Las Vegas. But the goal is just to get a road game. and I feel totally comfortable. And that's why I want them to win, because if they win, that will solidify my point that they're the best team that we've seen in the Liberty history. Even if they lose, they're the best roster and team that we've seen in history. And the setting stone will be set for next year, where it's like, if they lose, like, next year, we want the whole thing. No questions asked. But we're not going to worry about 365 days. They have a week and a half to try to win the title now.
Exactly, and obviously, unfortunately, it does play. It's like two of the potential 5 games does fall on NFL Sunday. So I don't know. Well, obviously, I'm going to be tuned to watch about New York be trying to win it all, even if I am limited to just watch cover.
There's no football. There's no football to watch in New York, so I don't know what football you're going to turn your TV on to. What are you going to watch on Fox? The Giants?
Yeah,
really?
the Giants are probably going to get smoked by the Miami Dolphins, but we'll get to that later when we make our NFL picks. And it's the New York Jets versus the Denver Broncos, a battle of losing team. Well, the Broncos just got their first win against the Chicago Bears, who smoked the Washington Commanders, which we'll get to later in the show. And yeah, for those of you tuning in, this is nothing but sports talk. I'm Rafique Louison alongside Ryan Walker. But yeah, to get back to the point, this is I mean, the hardcore football fans that are not really into basketball like that, let alone women's basketball, they're going to be locked into football. So the viewership,
yeah, 100%, 100%.
The NFL and the WNBA Finals with the Liberty in the New York area are going to be like ping pong, if you know what I'm talking about.
100%. No, 100%. That's not gonna. I was just being sarcastic to say that. But I mean, the Giants are just really terrible. The Jets might win this week. But that was just to say that in general, for us I know it's not going to be like that because it's football and this is men, and I get it. And I love football. We love football too. But honestly, in New York, for the next 2 weeks on a football Sunday, our TV should be more concentrated on the Liberty first. To me,
exactly.
But I know it's not going to pan out that way. Especially, I mean, for New Yorkers too, that they're really football fans. And then one thing about New York too, even though we have Giants and Jets fans here, and there are Bills fans as well too, New York is too much of an opinionated city and state. So even though there's a lot of Jets and Giants fans, you have a lot of people in this state. You have a lot of Cowboy fans that live out here. You have a lot of Niner fans that live out here. You have a lot of Patriot fans. You have a lot of Dolphins fans, because there's people from Florida that have, what I'm saying? There's a lot of
exactly.
different fan bases out here.
Just like there's a lot of fan diversity within the New York area. So they're not just rooting for New York teams. As a matter of fact, we welcome that, because you want to make sure that you see which fan base is smarter. Which fan base and media professionals are smarter.
I guess, but it'd be good though. But I think, I don't know, if in New York metropolitan area during those times, if the ratings are not shared to me between the Liberty or more for the Liberty on those days, that's just and that's a conversation for another day. That's just to show you it should be in New York, because we have a team like nationwide. I get it. The NFL is the number one most not watched sport in North America, in the United States of America. So even with as polarizing how the NBA is, the NFL football is the number one watch major sport from the top, whatever how they view it in the United States of America. So I get that, but guys, ain't no New York team winning, man. If we're not focused on the Liberty during this little run, let them get at least 2 weeks. Those 2 Sundays in New York, they should get more love than the only time that the football should get love is when the game is over. When the Liberty game is over, yeah, we'll turn it back on. Or there's a commercial flip back and forth. But, you get what I'm trying to say, man. Anyway, let's go, Liberty.
Yeah, exactly. And and to continue the conversation a little bit further, I was on a Zoom call earlier this week where some of the ESPN media talents that are covering the WNBA Finals this month, they talk about like the different angles in which they're going to approach. I mean, the different angles they're going to do some coverage. They're probably going to do some like little interactive interviews. They talked about like what the Aces of Liberty run to the finals like did for the media engagement. I even had a chance to speak to LaChina Robinson. I don't know if you saw my video that she talked about how impressed she was with how the ESPN viewership and the fan engagement skyrocketed when the Aces of Liberty play. I'm gonna let you listen to this clip. This is Rafique with Nothing But That Sports Talk. This is a question from China Robinson. As you watch the Liberty and the Aces play on the ESPN Family Network throughout the season, like, what are your overall impressions about the type of engagement that these teams manage to like accumulate?
Yeah, Rafique, it's been impressive. And you have to give credit to the creativity of their social media teams and their marketing groups and everyone working behind the scenes to create this level of engagement from what we're seeing in arena with fans. Rebecca spoke to how, the Barclays Center has just been incredible. The energy there, Las Vegas's side of things. I just think both organizations do such a fantastic job of giving their social media fans what they want, in arena fans. The level of entertainment is incredible. And so, just shout out to those folks for keeping everyone engaged in different ways to help to drive attention to these women, to these products, and to this game. And I know specifically thinking about a couple of people behind the scenes of Vegas. Deandra Duggins, I know, does a lot on the marketing side for them. Kia Clark has done an outstanding job along with Shayna Stevens. Some folks that you don't see when you're watching the games or see the teams, but behind the marketing and the branding of both of these organizations in these markets, those folks have done a fantastic job.
Yeah. So, what are your overall thoughts on LaChana Robinson's comments as far as the growth of the media engagement for the WNBA games?
I mean, it's extremely astute in a whole different parameter, same parameter per se, but in a different juncture. As we can see, why do you think that? And sad, it's not sad because it left fan bases that in areas that are great fan bases, but probably were struggling with other demographics. But this is why a lot of teams now are going towards Las Vegas. As you can see, you see what it's doing for the Raiders, good or bad. Like that's a market, and Vegas is a place. They were dying for sports teams, and with the Raiders going there now, the Aces becoming an organization. I'm hearing there are strong talks with the NBA with putting a team down there. You know what I'm saying? Where and there's another gentleman, we know who he is, that plays for the Lakers, that is also, I've heard in the conversation of at one point for that place. But Vegas has strong talks of having an NBA team on top of there's a preliminary talk. One of my good guys is from uptown is a good insider with a baseball guy, and they're even thinking about one day bringing a baseball team to Vegas, which would be a whole different other type of realms. So you see the Vegas in hockey, the Knights, they've been phenomenal for what they've done. Did they win a Stanley Cup? They did, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
They won a Stanley Cup in the last 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, and they had an astronomical team. As a matter of fact, yeah, they beat Tampa. It was one of those years they beat Tampa when Tampa was going to all those, and Tampa won like Tom, take care now. Tampa had won like 2 cups. I'm not mistaken, but there was a year Vegas when I think Vegas beat Tampa. You'll research it right now and remind me. I'm a hockey nerd, but it's just not clicking into my brain. But Vegas is a great place to sell. The media and the market are doing there, like they said she's doing right there. And this is New York.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did win the Stanley Cup Finals. They beat the Florida Panthers last year.
There you go. It was Florida. I'm sorry, not Florida. Tampa. Yes, Tampa didn't go to the Cup. I think Florida beat Tampa.
Game series. And you know what? That coincidentally that happened around the same time the Miami Heat lost against the Denver Nuggets, but that's a conversation for another day. But
so you're talking about Stanley Cup champion there, WNBA champion there, NFL team there. That team is not going 13-4, sweetie. Okay, but we can take that out. But the Vegas team is there, and man, if they put an NBA team there, oh man, that's crazy. That'd be.
So, I mean, as much as we want this team right in the back, the fitted. This team right in the back, that I'm showing you right there winning it all. Vegas winning on the Las Vegas Aces winning the same year that the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. The fan engagement in Las Vegas would skyrocket.
It was crazy. It's just crazy. It's crazy. You have a great place. New York is a great media in general, and it's great how we're doing it. And once a New York team is doing well, you know they're gonna come out and support. I told you, I've been to a lot of different sporting games and events, and game 2 of that series, our section was moving. Like I could feel the section moving. At one point in the second half, I was like, wow. And I show you the pictures I took, everybody waving their towel stuff. I mean, when I tell you, man, a fan base that's locked in all liberty, and this is, I don't care who gets mad at this, because the women's game is something that's building, and the core people have to stick to it, that stick to it. But the ones, we understand how great the game is, how great the ladies are, and how to stick to the brand and stick to the culture and support. We're not the narrow-minded people that have their other views on women's basketball and the WNBA game and the Liberty per se. But let me tell you, the Liberty fan base is the most loyal fan base of all New York sports teams. And to me, like it's just Liberty fans. You don't have unless you're a road, travelers that came to watch the game, and we have them too. Like if you're from New York and you go to, you could have a ticket to a Mets game and not be a Mets fan, and vice versa to Yankees games. I know a bunch of people that go to Knicks games all the time and are not Knicks fans. They just like to go to the Garden. You understand what I'm saying? They just like to, I know people that go to Giants games, Jets tickets all the time. They're not Giants or Jets fans. They might have a family member or a friend that always gets tickets, and they go. You know what I'm saying? Most of the core people do go, of course, are fans. No, everybody in the stadium is a Liberty fan. Everybody's in support of the Liberty fan. I sat in a section where, such great basketball conversations and minds, male and female, and the section was moving. So I know in New York, I know Barclays is going to be big time, and that's even the Liberty fan base at Barclays makes the Brooklyn Nets fan crowd look like they're in a funeral. Now that's no disrespect. Nobody take this wrong. I've always said this. The real core Brooklyn Nets fans don't go to the games. The real core Brooklyn fans are like you. And I'm not saying they don't have the money to do it or anything like that. The core, going to a Brooklyn Nets game, that's not fans. Those are rich Brooklyn people and some Jersey people that have season tickets and stuff and go there and they're just having a good time. I seen the Brooklyn Nets in there blowing the team out by 30, and you can hear a church mouse in there. A highlight play because oh, okay. That couldn't be the Garden. The Garden, you cross somebody over. Oh! The Knicks can win half a game, and it's a parade. You know what I'm saying? So the Liberty fans, they cheer. That section was moving. They're going to be, that's why I need them so bad to steal a road game. If they steal a road game,
it's going to be tough for Vegas. But then again, as long as you were watching sports and watching New York teams make it to the championship round, how many, we see so many New York championship appearances, most of the times, most teams failed. Some teams are successful, but this is bigger.
100%.
But if the New York Liberty were to pull off this win, spoiler alert, I'm going to be doing a top 5. I'm going to be doing a top 5 New York championships runs and series wins throughout this century.
Wow.
Or for the time we were born.
Very interesting. I have some of those. I think I'll have the answer for that almost already. That's amazing.
Yep, that's amazing indeed. And now that we're done talking about the WNBA the finals, we're not done talking about the WNBA because earlier today it was announced that the WNBA league will expand to the Bay Area. Thanks a lot, Golden State. as
Go
they're the
Bucks.
reason we will have a WNBA team in 2025 playing at Chase Center. So
That's phenomenal.
what are your overall thoughts on that?
Man, that's great. And they get a great stadium, those ladies. Brand new. That place I hear is like going to Dubai. Like that stadium, great. No other words. That is I might have to try for the women's team. I just want to be in the facilities. That facilities is crazy. So I have one of my good guys that come to crunch time. He coaches a team and supports a team. He plays too on a team for in crunch time. He's on the oh Lord, not the Killer Sharks. PCE is their name of their team. And stockbroker guy, really good guy, Asian cat, really cool guy. He travels a lot and does stuff with his job. But last year, not even last year, a few months ago, he went to like 4 games straight in Golden State. He went to the new stadium and stuff, and he told me that place is like. I mean, this is a guy that travels. Like he goes around, and he was like, "Man, that place is just phenomenal." I know another one of my coworkers, her family is in the San Francisco area because the new stadium is more close, so that whole area in general. And she went to a San Francisco Giants game, which that's another great sports metropolis. And then she went to a Warriors game, and that place is. And she used to do work with the NBA. She was like for 21 years. So crazy. Me and her used to talk. She was like a marketing rep or something. Like she used to schedule a lot of events. She's met a lot of NBA players, and she said that place is an Amazon. So kudos to them. God bless the WNBA, Golden State area. The staff and everybody over there that were able to push that and get that happening, and that's phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. And another note to point out that there's expected that Portland might be having a WA team again. They haven't had that Portland Fire days in the early 2000s before that folded. But obviously, because the money and the wealth, the WNBA couldn't afford to have the expansion team. They haven't had the expansion since 2008 when the Atlanta Dream came there. They only won 4 games. But you know what? That's how expansion teams are. I mean, they're trying to get a feel of playing the league because it's his first time, because it's his very first season in its existence.
Yes.
Now we don't know what type of roster they're gonna have for the new WNBA team down in the Bay Area or even a name, but I will assure it's going to be epic by the time we get to 2025.
100%.
Okay, now on to the very next topic. We talk about some NFL football as the Washington Commanders got shellacked. A 2-2 team going in. They're now 2-3, losing to what was a winless Chicago Bears. Chicago laid the smackdown on them 40-20. You picked the Commanders to win, but yeah, they lost to Chicago Bears. So let me get inside your brain a little bit. Were you happy that Chicago Bears got a win, or you were disappointed and pitiful about the way the Washington Commanders played in the loss?
Honestly, I didn't even really care. I had to make a pick just to make a pick. I thought Washington, but I should have known better to believe in Washington with Sam Howell. But I thought they were playing a better brand of football and, at least competing. They competed the last few weeks, but the Bears are due. And, Justin Fields played very phenomenal last week. He just played bad on the last 3 drives. Followed up again this week with a great game, 4 touches. The Bears are due. Usually everybody doesn't go 0 for something. You finally do get a win. And they did it, and the Bears do. But that's one of those games that's just like you could drink 3 alcohol drinks and spin backwards and pick that thing and probably still be right or wrong between the Bears and the Washington Commanders. So the Bears are due.
4 touchdowns on 282 yards.
Yeah.
Versus Sam Howell's those 2 touchdowns, 388 yards, and 1 interception. Yeah.
The interception scheme.
Yeah. When I was watching, and DJ Moore managed to get 1 of the touchdowns. He caught 3 of them on the receiving end, 230 receiving yards and 8 receptions. Yeah.
Wow.
Chicago is not playing around. They're not going to go 0-5.
Nope.
But yeah, let's just say they might have a they're not gonna go nowhere. That's not even given. And you know what?
Oh, none of those teams, no.
And you know what? It's time to make our NFL picks. And I don't know if you saw what I sent you, but you're currently 26-20 at the NFL picks for the season this year.
I'll take that. That's not too
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, it's a winning record. I mean, obviously, I sent you picks. You know what you got right. You know what you got wrong. The X's indicates what you lost, and the wins, and the text indicates what you got right. So now it's time for you to make your picks for Week 5 of the NFL season. Starting off with the Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be taking place in London, 9:30 a.m.
Who you said the Bills and who? I'm sorry.
The Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars. Keynote, that's the second week in a row. Jacksonville will be down in London, by the way, because after they steamrolled the Atlanta Falcons.
Buffalo. Buffalo's playing really good football right now. So they're looking like the Buffalo team that we expect them to be, and should be able to be to give Kansas City a run for their money or possibly beat them. But they have to stay consistent with that. But Buffalo's playing really good football right now. Jacksonville is having a tough time right now finding themselves. We expect them more from that team. They have a good defense. I love Lawrence. I think he's a big time. He's struggling a little bit. The team is struggling a little bit, but that's also kind of that Jacksonville mantra where they just anytime you think they've come around the corner and this team has figured out, and last year they were so solid, coming of age per se, kind of took a step back in a few weeks. But Buffalo's playing very well. They'll be in London. I'll go Buffalo on this.
Okay. Bills, let's see. Atlanta Falcons at home against Houston Texans. And gotta mention the Houston Texans got a good win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, holding them to about 6 points. They finally win a home game.
Atlanta's playing very good, but CJ Stroud has been playing very good quarterback for the Houston Texans. And they fight and compete every week. I like what Stroud is doing. They believe. I'm picking the Houston Texans on the road to get this game. Atlanta's competing very hard too with a rebuilding thing going on there. But Houston, you're right. Houston, we might have a problem. They might have something going with CJ Stroud eventually in their future. He's a good kid. They're playing well. They're competing. I like the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Detroit Lions at home against the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, come on, the Lions. You know how I feel about the Lions. They're winning the division, NFC North. That might have to be my team because, the Giants don't know what they're doing.
Tennessee Titans on the road against the Indianapolis Colts.
This is a tough one. Derrick Henry ran the ball really well and have been playing very good football quietly. But every time you believe in Tennessee, they always let you down. The Colts have been playing very good football. Jonathan Taylor is supposed to be back. I don't know how many reps and how great he will be. This is a tough pick. I should go Tennessee. Colts let me down one of the weeks when I thought they should do something, but I'm going to go Colts.
Are you going to go with the Colts? Okay.
Yeah, I should go Tennessee because Tennessee's actually played better the last 2 weeks, and Derrick Henry is running like a mad, strange slave right now. But I'm going to go Colts. I need some upset picks so I can change them numbers on my football picks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. New York Giants on the road against the Miami Dolphins. I believe when I made your picks, you probably picked the Giants to lose in Miami.
Dolphins.
Okay.
And the Giants have no chance. No Thomas. Offensive line is bewildered. Saquon is probable.
Okay.
They have no confidence from last week.
Okay, we're gonna relook the Giants' schedule and your picks and your win-loss predictions to see if I'm right. But obviously, you did probably pick them to lose. Okay, New England Patriots at home against the New Orleans Saints at Gillette Stadium.
Saints.
That's fair. Baltimore Ravens on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, the Ravens. They're playing good football right now. Solid football. Lamar cashing out the right way. I like Pittsburgh. I do, man. I've been big on them. They've let when I picked them, they messed around and win this week because of that crap. I don't know the Ravens playing good football. Pittsburgh has to play that perfect game like they usually do to have a chance, which they can do. I do like the quarterback, even though he's up and down sometimes. I do like the receiver pick, and so, but no Baltimore.
Philadelphia Eagles on the road in SoFi Stadium against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams, they picked up a big win last week.
Eagles.
Okay. Now, Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the Arizona Cardinals.
That's a joke. You got to pick this game, really? I guess Cincinnati remembers they're a good football team. I guess, but they better be careful. Ask the Dallas Cowboys about Arizona if you can't go down there and lose. So I guess Joe Burrow in Cincinnati remembers after winning the other day that they're a good team and get into a groove. The Bengals, they'll get 2 games in a row.
Yeah. Jets on the road against the Denver Broncos. A battle of 1 and 3 teams.
Jets will win. They should. They better. I mean, the Broncos played better last week. Russell did, but I think the Jets defense is really good. They'll make enough plays. We have no confidence in Zach Wilson, so it's all about, can Zach Wilson score more points than the Broncos? This might be like a 19-16 game, or like a 16-13, or like a 17-14 type of game with this team. I don't see anybody scoring above 21, but Jets should get their second win this week against the Denver Broncos.
Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, come on. The Kansas City Chiefs are winning the Minnesota Vikings. First win last week, really?
Dallas Cowboys on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. Playoff rematch from last year and the year before.
San Fran.
Green Bay Packers on the road against Las Vegas Raiders. Do you think this will be the elusive fourth loss that Trini Barry predicted? Because she did pick the Raiders to win this game.
I'm gonna, and I like Jordan Love. The Raiders are at home, so I'm gonna pick the Raiders. I don't want to pick any one of them for this game. Then I'll pick the Raiders. No, the Raiders will not lose this week. But guess what? They'll probably mess around and lose because I picked them, and this definitely will be their fourth loss. They're not winning 13 games.
I'm gonna make sure Trini and Barbie listen to what you said.
Let them do it. They're not winning 13 games.
You gotta reach out. You gotta reach out to No Plays Off Sports Talk and get on their show and let them know that you work for me to tell Trini and Barbie that, because
I'll tell her, like, sweetie, I know you guys know sports, but they're not winning 13 games. I'm not even gonna explain why. They're just not. You do your homework as a kid and it says, show your work. That's the one where I just give it into the answer. Like, listen, teacher, I know the answer, okay? They're not winning. No.
They're not winning indeed. Okay, now on to some nothing but that sports talk, quick talk segment. On to some MLB postseason news, as the Arizona Diamondbacks managed to get a series sweep against the Milwaukee Brewers on the road. The Minnesota Twins finally won a playoff series. It's not the ALDS, but they finally advanced to the postseason after winning 2-0 against the Toronto Blue Jays. The Phillies sweep the Miami Marlins, so that's no surprise there. Really no surprise indeed. And yeah, Oh yeah, and then there's the Texas Rangers, the Tampa Bay Rays on the road. Thoughts?
Oh, and even without the Yankees being in there or the Mets per se, but Yankees, my heart's not watching it 100%, but I am watching it because I'm watching postseason baseball. I am making sure I'm staying tuned. There's been good games. Um, I'm on record when I'm accurate with something. I like to be quoted. 365 days ago, I told people that the Texas Rangers are going to be better than what people think they will be, and the Rangers are a really good team. So watch out. They did what they had to do. Tampa, just another a credit to them to showing how they always end up really being good, but always end up falling on their face. To get swept like that is bad, but like I said, they got swept by a team that just came in and played. Minnesota got who did Tampa lose to Minnesota? Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota did well. Carlos Correa was big for them. And I'm actually happy for Minnesota that they got out there and maybe this can, surge them and they can do something. And hey, they took care of their business. Arizona has been a buzzsaw this year, hasn't they?
Yeah, they had two different comeback wins against the Milwaukee Brewers on the road, if I recall.
Yes. And they got a good thing going. The Brewers, God bless Craig Counsell. He's always made this team competitive. For some reason, even when you believe the Brewers are supposed to always do it, they fall on their face. Now everybody and their mother's going after Craig Counsell. I hear the Mets are on his heels. I wish the Yankees would fire Aaron Boone right now and go get that guy. But that's neither here nor there. But I know the Mets are on his heels. The Brewers want him back desperately, so the Brewers said they're going to do everything in their power to make sure they sign him back. But remember, I told you that Craig Counsell is the hot coach commodity right now that everybody is keeping on. So, but the Diamondbacks played phenomenal to win, and I expected the Marlins to win a game because when you said that everybody expected the Phillies, the Marlins are a good team. They lost to a Phillies team that we know what they did last year, and the scary thing is that if the Phillies were 100% healthy. And it's always hard for me to say this because the only thing I love in Philadelphia are cheesesteaks, the food, and a couple other things. I don't support the sports teams, even though I always respect when they're good. But I was going to pick the Phillies to win the whole thing if they were 100% healthy. And they got two guys who are out for the whole entire year. But that city, that team, they fight, they're grit. So I know Deb is ecstatic again. Philadelphia has always got a good thing going. They got the Sixers and their Eagles, so that town is on tilt. They'll always support the Sixers, but I hope Gilly and those guys know that the Sixers are not coming out the East because the Celtics and the Bucks are going to the conference finals. But yeah, those are good. Baseball is the first games, man, were good, and now we're on the NLDS, so we'll see where everything matches up. And the top dogs are waiting. Baltimore is waiting. A couple of teams are waiting, and it'd be a very good NLDS series, and a couple more weeks we'll have a champion.
Yep, indeed. And it all starts with the Texas Rangers going up against the Baltimore Orioles. Who you got winning this series?
Wow, this is so tough. Baltimore is really good. I'm not a hater. They're in the division. I want to see Baltimore make a run to the World Series, but I'm gonna go scary, and I'm gonna go with a pick, and I'm gonna go my dark horse pick. I'm gonna pick the Texas Rangers to win and upset in this series. I know it's a lot. It's a reach. I probably have my foot in my mouth in a week, but I'm going to pick the Texas Rangers. I like what they're doing. They're hot. They're still playing. The Orioles did have a little bit of time off. Sometimes that can hurt you. And the Orioles have been in a good position for a while, so they kind of could have to chill and rest their players. I just like what Texas is doing, and I think Texas can be the one to beat the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles are the favorite, guys. So don't kill me in a week. But upset pick, Texas Rangers.
Minnesota Vikings versus the Houston Astros. And we know how good the Houston Astros are in the postseason. And somehow, well, like you said, when LD somehow they got together, Justin Verlander, well, after that brief stint with the Mets that didn't go nowhere, he's back with the Houston Nationals where he belongs, and he's back in the postseason where he belongs. So, yeah, do you see the Houston Nationals taking out the Minnesota Twins?
The Twins. Yeah, the Astros. I love the Twins. I love what they're doing. Carlos Correa, those guys with
I hate to admit it, but I know Carlos Correa is glad that he stayed on the Minnesota Twins and not go to the New York Mets or the Giants or something with that large amount of money deal when because of his injuries he couldn't get to that physical.
Right, it worked out for him. Hey, no, I think this is where the buck stops. The Houston Astros are a really good team. They're championship savvy. You know, this is their time of the year. They shall be extremely poised and ready. They will win. They will win this series. They will beat the Minnesota Twins.
Okay, now Philadelphia Phillies against the Atlanta Braves. Rematch of last year's NLDS, and you know what happened? The Phillies upset them. You see them doing it again? Or will the Braves finally redeem themselves?
This will be really good, but no, the Phillies won't do it this time. The Phillies beat them last year.
Let's not forget. Yeah, let's not. The last time you said the Phillies weren't going to get as far as they did manage to win last year. The right and the wrong way. Let's not forget. Let's not forget when Deb was on the show a year ago. You said the Phillies weren't going to beat the St. Louis Cardinals. And what do you think they did? You didn't have them going to the World Series.
Stop. Don't be a prisoner of the moment. The Atlanta Braves were not healthy last year. They didn't play with two of their best players on the team. You know that, and Acuna Jr. did not play.
That's true.
Did. So, and they were missing a pitcher. Stop it. That's the only reason why the Phillies were able to make that run. If the Braves are healthy, they do not beat the Braves. The Braves are completely healthy. And honestly,
I'm just saying.
The Braves are winning the series. I bet $100 on it. As much as I love the Philadelphia Phillies, they have a very good feisty team. You heard what I just said about how solid and good they are. But the Braves are completely healthy. They are loaded with their pitching staff. It would be an utter upset if they lose with this roster the way they are set up, and they have home field. They're going to beat the Phillies in this series. The Braves are going 9 times out of 10 back to the World Series. So
I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I'm just
the Braves weren't healthy last year. Phillies beat them. They did their job. That's not their fault that somebody's hurt. You play the games 100%. But this is a healthy Atlanta Braves team with some of the top dogs on that team. And those guys, remember the year before, they were experienced, they were savvy, they were clutch, they did everything right. They didn't make that run last year because of health. And the Philadelphia Phillies are missing 2 guys on their team that against this team, you're going to need all your dogs. This is not Miami. Atlanta is on a whole different pedestal this year. The 2 best teams in baseball this year, all year, were the Baltimore Orioles and the Atlanta Braves. So, listen, I'm not saying it can't happen. The Phillies are a resurgence. We know how that city is. But this Atlanta team is stupid healthy, and they're an absolute beast. And it was the biggest thing, not even so much they're hitting. They got pitching. They got starting pitching. I'm telling you, they got 3 guys that can come in there and put zeros on the board. So remember, the Phillies beat the Marlins, but it's not like they blasted the Marlins in those 2 games. Different buzzsaw, and you started off in Philadelphia. You ain't starting off in Philly this time. You're playing Atlanta, and clearly the card. And you sent me that good pick because that was right. The Cardinals were a disappointment this year, and they were disappointing at the end of last year with the postseason. And they're another one of the teams in that top 5 thing that you sent, which was great to me because they were absolutely astute about the exact order of all those disappointing teams. Us and the Mets
yeah, Tarika, who's once a guest on this platform, she ranked some of the 5 worst teams in baseball in her opinion. That's just her opinion. The Cardinals were one of the worst. not the way
She
Adam
was
Wainwright
right.
wanted to go out. And sadly, the Yankees and Mets are on top there.
She was right. She was right. Cardinals, Yankees. I should say Cardinals, Yankees. Who else was in there? I know the Mets were number one. San Diego Padres. And there was one other team that I forget she said in that mix, and I was like, yeah, this is completely right. This is a perfect list. And that's another thing too. Even my Toronto,
The Detroit Tigers. The Detroit
the
Tigers.
Detroit Tigers.
She also mentioned
And
one of the worst, and that's a favorite team right there. She was originally born in Detroit, but yeah,
and even
I hate
Toronto.
To say this, yeah, and I hate to say
Toronto
this right now,
always has bad luck.
but she was right in that order. I mean, the Yankees. I don't know if I want to put the Yankees because even though they did finish to the 500 record, but yeah, you don't make the playoffs, so.
Yeah, you don't make the playoffs, which is one of their minimum goals, and for as it wasn't the Mets payroll, but the payroll is high, and based off the payroll and the expectations, even with finishing above 500, it's a disappointing year, and and then to see how mathematically you were so close to having an opportunity and just had the worst month and a half you could ever talk about in history for baseball. Like even if they were 500 during that stretch, they go to postseason, and that's another reason why it hurts so bad. Like why be so close? It's like that. If you're going to be off by so much. But it is what it is, and back to the main point. Rafique, man, I know I could be wrong. I'm wrong on a lot of stuff, but I just don't see Atlanta losing this series. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Now, on to the final postseason series matchup: the Arizona Diamondbacks going up against Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm picking the Dodgers to win this one without question. What about you?
All right, I'm picking the Dodgers. I want Arizona to beat this.
You want Arizona to beat it?
I want Arizona to beat them so bad. I want to beat them so bad.
So you're picking the Dodgers, but you want Arizona Diamondbacks to beat them.
Yeah, I'm picking the Dodgers to be safe. I'm picking the Dodgers to be safe, but I want Arizona to send their butts home. I'm on the record.
Okay. Okay. I mean, yeah, that was a good talk. I mean, you made your picks. It's going to
That's
be
the
very.
Rangers. Let's go Islanders whenever that does happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, that will be this episode of the Book That Sports Talk. And make sure you check out the link in my bio for the interview I did with Victoria Mercado earlier as she talks about her basketball journey, how much she enjoyed New York Summer basketball, and of course the WNBA Finals. Make sure you watch the WNBA Finals because that team right there will take home the crown.
Yeah, that's my homegirl, Vicky. Man, I'm glad that you got her. I spoke to her and glad she had her on a platform. I was at work, so I could about it. But it's better sometimes when it's people that I know, whether it's crunch time or different people that I get. Sometimes I like when you just do the interviews with them anyway because it gives them it's more of a platform for you to be able to showcase them and make it all about them. You know what I'm saying in the interview and stuff. So I'm glad that worked out that way. But yeah, Vicky, that's my girl, statistician. She does a great job. Work with us at Crunch Time, and she's a hooper. She played at Nassau. She played high school ball. She went to different places. She might be going overseas very shortly again.
She mentioned some WNBA players, and she mentioned some WNBA players in the interview.
Yeah, she's a smart girl, very savvy, and we're very happy and fortunate to have her on our statistician table at the Crunch Time table. Smart girl. We actually spoke today for a long period of time about a lot of very good topics. So smart young lady, very good. She'll have news soon. She might be headed somewhere that's she'll still be the one to disclose that. But God bless, that was good. And you're right, that team behind you, we trying to win the whole thing. Listen, no disrespect, Vegas. We know what you trying to do. We know how great you are. But we ain't trying to be second. We trying to have a parade in 2 weeks.
Yep, we trying to. For Ryan Walker, Rafique Louison, we'll see you next time.